Greetings and blessings, everyone. This is John the Jansenist once again, and I'm going to be covering the topic of birth control this evening. This is a topic that is very contentious, even amongst so-called conservative Catholics, who apparently seem to have a hard time saying no to the latest innovation in irresponsibility, regardless to how contrary it runs to the tenets of our faith. The article I am about to read can be found on the Wall Street Journal website, and I've provided a link in the description, and I'm going to read it at this time. Much of the attraction between the sexes is chemistry. New studies suggest that when women use hormonal contraceptives, such as birth control pills, it disrupts some of these chemical signals, affecting their attractiveness to men and women's own preferences for romantic partners. The type of man a woman is drawn to is known to change during her monthly cycle. When a woman is fertile, for instance, she might look for a man with more masculine features. Taking the pill or another type of hormonal contraceptive upends this natural dynamic, making less masculine men seem more attractive, according to a small but growing body of evidence. The findings have led the researchers to wonder about the implication of partner choice, relationship quality, and even the health of the children produced by these partnerships. Evolutionary psychologists and biologists have long been interested in factors that lead to people's choice of mates. One influential study in the 1990s, dubbed the T-shirt study, asked women about their attraction to members of the opposite sex by smelling the men's T-shirts. The findings showed that humans, like any other animal, transmit and recognize information pertinent to sexual attraction through chemical odors known as pheromones. The study also showed that women seemed to prefer the scents of men whose immune systems were most different from the woman's own immune system genes known as MHC. The family of genes permit a person's body to recognize which bacteria are foreign invaders and to provide protection from those bugs. Evolutionarily, scientists believe children should be healthier if their parents' MHC genes vary, because the offspring will be protected from more pathogens. More than 92 million prescriptions for hormonal contraceptives, including pills, patches, and injections, were filled last year in the U.S., according to data tracker IMS Health. Researchers say their aim isn't to scare or stop women from taking hormonal contraceptives. Quote, "We just want to know what we're doing by taking the pills," says Alexandra Alverne, a researcher in biological anthropology at the University College London in the UK. "If there is a risk it affects our romantic life and the health status of our children, we want to know." Dr. Alverne last year published a review detailing the existing literature on the topic in the journal Trends in Ecology and Evolution. Both men's and women's preferences in mates shift when a woman is ovulating, the period when she is fertile, research has shown. Some studies have tracked women's responses to photos of different men, while other studies have interviewed women about their feelings for men over several weeks. Among the conclusions, when women are ovulating, they tend to be drawn to men with greater facial symmetry and more signals of masculinity, such as muscle tone, a more masculine voice, and dominant behaviors. The women also seem to be particularly attuned to MHC gene diversity. From an evolutionary perspective, these signals are supposed to indicate that men are more fertile and have better genes to confer to offspring. Women tend to exhibit subtle cues when they are ovulating, and men tend to find them more attractive at this time. Women try to look more attractive, perhaps by wearing tighter or more revealing clothing, says Marty Haselton, a communications and psychology professor at the University of California, Los Angeles. Research on this includes studies in which photos that showed women's clothing choices at different times of the month were shown to groups of judges. Women also emit chemical signals that they are fertile. Researchers have measured various body odors, says Dr. Haselton, who has a paper on men's ability to detect ovulation coming out in the journal Current Directions in Psychological Science. Such natural preferences get wiped out when the woman is on hormonal birth control, research has shown. Women on the pill no longer experience a great desire for traditionally masculine men during ovulation. Their preference for partners who carry different immunities than they also disappear. And men no longer exhibit shifting interests for women based on their menstrual cycle, perhaps because those cues signaling ovulation are no longer present, scientists say. Some women using birth control pills have long reported changes in their libido and mood. Research is still in the early stages to explore the implications of taking hormonal contraceptives for women's choice of mates and for fidelity in relationships. Researchers speculate that women with less masculine partners may become less interested in their partner when they come off birth control, contributing to relationship dissatisfaction. And if contraceptives are masking women's natural ability to detect genetic diversity, then the children produced by parents who met when the woman was on the pill may be less genetically healthy, they suggest. We don't have enough research to draw a firm conclusion yet, says Dr. Haselton. It is certainly possible that if women don't experience that little uptick in desiring masculinity, that they end up choosing less masculine partners, she says. That could prompt some women to stray, research suggests. Psychologist Stephen Gangstead and his team at the University of New Mexico showed in a 2010 study that women with less masculine partners reported an increased attraction for other men during their fertile phase. Women partnered with traditionally masculine partners didn't have such urges, according to the study of 60 couples. In another study, the researchers analyzed MHC gene samples of 48 couples. Women partnered with men with whom they shared the least genetic diversity reported being less sexually responsive to their mates. The study was published in 2006 in the journal Psychological Science. There is also accumulating evidence indicating men react differently to women when they are on birth control. A 2004 study in the Journal of Behavior Ecology used the T-shirt study methodology, but instead put the shirts on 81 women. The panel of 31 men smelling the T-shirts experienced the greatest attraction for the non-pill using women when they were ovulating. 12 women on the panel didn't detect any difference. A study on primates appears to support the idea that hormonal contraceptives change mating preferences. Duke University researchers studied hormones secreted by female lemurs before and after the animals received a hormonal contraceptive. They also studied males' preferences for these scents. The findings published in the journal Proceedings of the Royal Society of Biological Sciences this year showed that the injection of Depo-Provera, a long-lasting contraceptive that is approved for use in humans, dramatically altered the chemicals that female lemurs give off to indicate their identity and how genetically healthy they are. The females given the contraceptive became overall less appealing to the males than before getting the injection, says Christine Drea, a professor in Duke's Evolutionary Anthropology Department and senior author of the study. The contraceptive erased all the normal information the odor signals conveyed, she says. Though the study would need to be conducted in humans to draw direct conclusions, there are potential parallels to people, Dr. Drea says. Birth control could be mixing up your own signals and others aren't really smelling the real you, she says, and thus concludes the article. What do we do with this information? All of you out there watching this, because it is evidently clear from current trends in Western civilization that contraception not only has a foothold in secular living, but it has creeped its way into the church. The fact that the Old Catholic Union of Utrecht shies away from the issue of contraception, refusing to teach properly on it, is extremely troubling, particularly considering it is the church that I currently identify with. The Roman Catholic Church has, thankfully, come out forcefully against artificial chemical means of birth control. However, they have allowed for other means of birth control that, unfortunately, are utterly unbiblical. So, in essence, what we have is a disastrous state for human society, particularly in Western civilization. People often ask, why is it that there seems to be an increase in different forms of sexual countercultures? Why is there increased amount of people seeking to dress, to act, and even to modify themselves to appear to be as the opposite sex? Why is it that marriages are failing left and right? Why is it that men no longer seem to be men? The answer is clear, and the answer comes in two words: birth control. This article may shy away from the truth, but as far as I am concerned, the truth is simple. Birth control leads to divorce, it leads to defective children, defective families, and ultimately defective society. And any society with any interest in self-preservation will prohibit its use in the household and the sale of it outside of the household on grounds of securing the betterment and the health of the society. That is my understanding of the matter, and it is the understanding of any good Christian firmly rooted in sound doctrine that birth control, particularly birth control by use of chemical means, is unnatural, abhorrent, and disgusting, and should not be pursued. That concludes this talk for this evening. In nomine Patris et Filii et Spiritus Sancti. God be with you all.